Thank you for having me here. It's a current topic. What I hope to do is make you feel you can well handle what you get in your classroom. That's your responsibility, isn't it? Just a little thought about this. For many kids, school might be their only near community as they sit with you in a period session for 40 minutes. So there's some adult that's with them for 40 minutes and they are with each other for 6 hours or 5.5 hours as a consistent community, though they will have their own friendship groups. That might be the only time they are together with someone their own age and interacting. Recently, 2 parents came to consult with me. Recently, 2 parents came to consult me with their daughter, 15-year-old child, and so I generally I'm the director of the Colombo Empathic Learning Center, where I see parents with the kids, and generally it's the mother who phones and says, asks my secretary for an appointment. Then I have said no appointments unless the dad comes. Then she phones again and says he had gym, he has Rotarian, he has Lions, he has I don't know what else, but because it's a free consultation, I don't charge, I can insist that he must come. So he comes and sits in front with the 2 of them sit down with the child, and when I get to the science part of it, kids listen, and then they get a hope that they can do well in life and so on. So this child came with the parents, and when I was checking out, initially parents met me before the child. So they said the child never leaves the room once she is in the house. Never leaves the room. She's with a smartphone, high-end, with her digital music and with her digital friends. That's also a limited number of friends. So it's a closed space syndrome, understand the word. But these parents have been wise. They have kept a door open with her because she doesn't take even one single meal in the house. Not one single meal. But she would say after school, can you take me to that cafe? And dad would. And at about 6 or 7, she will say again, can you take me to some other place? And so they have kept their link with the child by doing what she needs from them. Wise thing they have done. So there's bonhomie, but all her way. So I gave you just a clinical case which is not isolated. That child is completely by herself in a closed space with few friends with digital desires, or digitally also it depends on whether you're on Discord or what you are most at. So digital groups are also now sectarian, so to say. So school is a place, at least for some time, they have hopefully bonhomie and interaction. So let me get on to, don't be too intimidated by the title, Teachers as Therapists. This means whatever you do at school with bonhomie is therapy for child. Just 40 minutes in the class together, she's having some company, isn't it? So I will quickly, I have a slide on 8 kind of children who will find classroom difficult, and giving you some tips to recognize that and how you may go forward. There are 8 kinds of children in the classroom who are the ones who tend to disturb the class. When you understand them, you can develop empathic remedies, which are very simple really. So let's get on. Signs of kids' isolation: absent, missing homework, could be ill kept in their attire. They could be, a little disheveled kind of thing. Theory: silence to questions, cornered by other students, hanging out alone at interval time, coming to the teacher's table at the end of a lesson, hanging around, hoping they'll catch your eye. So this child who comes around, before you leave the class, and she will not say, I want to meet you. Then if you are sensitive, you can find and have a little chat with her and keep chatting with her till she comes out with her whatever she has to say. Just that contact that she came and met you and had some time with you is all that child is seeking. It doesn't have to be specialist time, just a bonhomie time, just to chat with whatever the child wants to have a chat with you about. Looking for help. Then they may be into food fads and you may pick it up or you may not pick it up. So, teacher remedies. Here is an experiment. See whether it is doable. I was used to lecturing to medical students, 150 at a time. But in 2012, when the screen was getting more intensely used, I detected that kids are getting jittery. So they drop their attention span. All study capacity is related to attention span. A child after 8 years should have an attention span of 40 to 45 minutes. That's why school periods are 30 minutes at the beginning and little longer later. AIS school period is how much? 40 minutes. So that's scientific, because even we as adults can keep our concentration focused mostly for 40 minutes. Then dopamine works for salience, that is to focus, and dopamine will come down. You will see a graphic on it. And then your child or you will relax and check back. Then serotonin is working, asking the questions in your brain tracts. How can I improve this? That's the default mode inside us, says, how can I improve this? And we all, and the child wants to be well rewarded and good feeling about what the child did in that 40 minutes. If you understood, I'm going to ask you to give a vote on it. Okay, we'll just give a, That's just an interaction thing, Sri Lankans are fond of voting, correct? Yeah. So that idea is that after 40 minutes you check back, which becomes a curricular habit. Did I understand it? Connection, collation, recall, application. This process is going on in the mind. Then in that next 15 minutes is the reward sense, satiety. I did it well, I need to improve. Rather than say you're wrong, even when we want to correct someone, you have to say, darling, how are we going to improve this? Same for your husband. What are you going to say? How can we improve this here? No condemnation, just on the improvement mode, then you get on his serotonin. If you start telling him you did wrong, you have got his dopamine high and he will resist it like a pit bull, Yeah. So, here is a suggestion. Carefully pick on 6 empathic kids. So you want to make kids your friends in the classroom. Then you find those who hang around, those who like to be monitored, they like to do work, they answer the questions easily. Then you, little by little, put them in a group with one of them, group with 6 other kids, group with 6 other kids, give the groups funny names or names after their leader or whatever, You can call one group Putin, another group Trump. No, don't like the idea? No, don't call them that. Some simple thing, Take time with an icebreaker. I'm not saying do this every day. I'm saying take a little period time to create bonhomie so that you are using those 6 kids roughly to say how much is a classroom, class group in a class? 25. So let's say 4 then. Then you have 6 in a group and these kids are being trained to be leaders and to feel with others, and they come and chat with you about how it's going on in the group. Get the idea? This is to develop empathy, bonhomie, and for you to get a feel of the class first hand from them. Then ask kids gently what they thought about their fellow beings. Develop the 6 kids as watchouts to keep ear to ground, kids at risk. Then there are things that you can get on to. We will look at it later. Now this is a kids classification that might be important for you to understand which kids may be finding it difficult to sit easily in class and therefore cause some kind of disturbance or trouble. The empathic, intuitive kid who's quiet and contained, don't call them to get up and answer. So you will notice in your class, kids who will not answer questions. They want to be left alone. That's how they have grown up. So don't break their shell and pull them out. They will resent you. So, you do the subject year through, isn't it? Or you're the class teacher. So you are meeting them virtually every day for 40 minutes, or class teacher perhaps more. So you have this classification in your mind. I can send this presentation to your school so that you all can have it. Have this classification in your mind. Then you have the empathic relational kid, who is the easy outgoing one, helping and wanting to be monitored and that kind of thing. Then you have the kinesthetic kid. Either she was born like that, or he was born like that, or too much digital screen from early days. Harshana said, how early does a child get exposed to the screen? From the mother's womb. That is, if a mom is on the screen, inside the mom's brain there are things called prostaglandins that start working, that will cross the blood-brain barrier, in the placenta. It will get to the little kid, and if the mom is watching some seriously disturbing things on Discord, that kind of prostaglandin goes into the fellow, and he is already managing risk inside the mother's womb. Understood the issue? So the child is born inattentive, he is not even taking breast milk, he is jittery from day dot. So this is a real problem. So this is a different thing. So I keep telling moms, take time for bonding while the child is in the womb. Speak to the child, pray with the child, sing with the child. Know and not only imagine, know for a fact that what you are saying and what you are feeling affects the little fellow in the womb. We knew that, isn't it? Just that the digital screen effect on mom has a neurochemical transmission into the kid. But that's how neurochemistry works. Too much to understand or can't follow? Am I too fast? No, you can follow and absorb. Yeah. So I'm explaining the kinesthetic child. That child can't sit in one place. She has to get up and do something, or say something to the next child. Now, sometimes you may have to give that child, do you have desk single or desks two, or desk single? Yeah. So I don't know how practical it is. If a child disturbs a neighbor very much, change the neighbor every week kind of thing. This problem has been asked me in other schools, that there are kids that nobody wants to sit with that kid, but that kid is disturbing all the time. So through the month, others share the trouble. You get what I mean? So now this is not exactly a teacher's role, but as I told you, for most of them, school is the best place. Though I am smiling, actually I bear a lot of grief about this topic, because my earlier topic was how to improve your learning while being online. I have come here once before. And it's a great topic for parents, teachers and kids, but it's about improvement, doing much better and matching your potential. This is about a desperate situation, isn't it? We don't know which child is slipping into what. So this is not a happy topic, but a necessary topic to be aware, and don't feel overwhelmed. Simple things in the classroom can help. Certainly problems begin in the home. Child is mostly in the home, and child is in her or his social networks. So, but the manifestation, the thing comes up in the school, because they are for 6 hours in the school. So her worst day may come up in the school. So that's why schools get into trouble, because their most difficult day may manifest from school. Though you are not responsible for it, but how can you be helpful? Fourth kind of child is the digitized child, the ADHD kid with low attention. They dare anything. So we have to have a special strategy for them. If you have a child who cannot be contained in the normal class, within inverted commas, what do? Some schools have a special class putting everybody together. Ideally is to have a special class that is age relevant. Another home remedy is allowing a shadow teacher with the child. I don't know whether AIS has thought so far, whether this is practical, having a shadow teacher for the, you have. So you have done very well.
Not very many, but
Understand, yeah. When you really feel there's a need, so ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It is not improved by drugs. So we have to train our doctors not to be trigger happy with prescription. It's a huge problem. Kids on the edge are taken to psychiatrists, and the first thing they do is, after 3 minutes of listening, prescribe a drug. And there is not a single drug that is receptor specific. There's no drug that acts only on dopamine. There's no drug that acts only on serotonin. But that's what our brain has. So this is a field that we have to tell our doctors, please don't prescribe too fast. And please don't prescribe and forget. Child has to be followed up. So there's another parallel specialty called cognitive behavioral therapy, clinical psychologists. And they are very rare because the GMO does not allow it. And if you don't know what that is, you will have to ask your neighbor, what did doctor say that, what is the thing, GOMA or GMOA, or what is the thing? That doesn't allow clinical psychology to come up as a specialty. We desperately need cognitive behavioral therapists. In the NHS system in England, all schools, large schools, have a specialist on that, and other schools will refer immediately to this specialist. And even doctors there, when a child comes with an issue, refers to this CBT people, and they sit with the child, if necessary, every day for 1 hour, till the child feels and the therapist feels the child is safe. So there are few here, but we have to have a system where schools enable, equip teachers to be able to do this. So on a subsequent session, if you think this is worth way going, few selected teachers, I can do a more detailed presentation on how you can be very well equipped in a classroom or as a special counselor in the school. If you understood that, you got it, isn't it? But today's thing is to make you feel quite able to handle your classroom in a reconciliatory, redeeming way, so that kids are well cared for and you're stepping into a gap that parents have left, isn't it? Now you are also parents, but schools are the healing community now here. My advice to schools is, don't be dismissive, don't be defensive, but say we can be a healing community. So that, and to parents I keep saying, don't be offended, don't fight the school, and crisis time is not a fighting time. I did a very large Zoom meeting for the affected people, and they understood. Because for their kids, the school community is very needed, and they don't want fights with the school community. And also we don't want kids going on television telling about their problem. That's certainly not the way to go. Far too much stress on a child. Completely unethical. So that's a media issue, and yeah. That's by the way. So remember this fourth category, there could be quite a few like that. Then there are kids who are language expressive, talkative or silent. There are other kids who are pictorial processing, imaginative, so they are not good in essay writing and things like that. They are good in art, music and so on. So these pictorial processing kids will not be good in science or mathematics. So they need art, drama, music and so on. Every child has a subject in which he or she can get an A. But many children will have certain subjects which they can't do well at all. So a child's value can't depend on the A that child gets. Also, you have to have a system of commendation for every child. Work on the basis that out of the 24 kids in your class, each one has a thing at which he can or she can be brilliant. You have mixed classrooms. Yeah. Each one has a class. So there's a bit of a difficult call whether the class teacher recognizes it or the subject teacher recognizes it. Have a little concourse, discussion, class teacher and the subject teachers, and do a little thing, put the 24 names down and check out this child is best in what. Commend the child for that. So it's a little extra work, So all 24 children are on a spreadsheet and each teacher says, this child is very good in my subject. Another teacher says, this child is very good in mathematics. There are a few nuttos like me who dream mathematics, they are after all these rare fellows are necessary, isn't it? Most children find mathematics difficult, so remember that. Then those children who are managerial, well managed and messy children, everything is messy. So you can't correct it in the classroom, you have to accept them as they are. At what point you would have a chat with a parent, you have to decide. My sense is never accuse a child to the parent. You have to have a discussion with the parent. You must be having parent-teacher days. Mom comes or dad comes? You insist both come.
We don't insist, but we always.
I must give you a clap. You know the problem everywhere, isn't it? Only mom arrives. Yeah. So it's a very good culture that they both come. Yeah. Then finally the amygdala child is a child, in Sinhala there was a saying, Adana minibirita hata engileng annawage. Is there anyone at AIS speaking Sinhala? Yeah. That is the child who is sensitive, very compassionate, wants to help the beggars, always says, give something when someone comes to the car door or car window. So the amygdala is a little gallbladder-shaped thing in the bottom of the brain. So we should be thinking from our prefrontal cortex, executive, empathic, creative, initiation, navigation, successful end conclusion, good reward. That's how we should do for curriculum. That's how we should do for other life choices. But these children or adults, for whatever reason, can move to the bad, bitter memory that happened yesterday, day before, or 1 month ago. So they are always sucking a bitter bulto, which is the amygdala thing. Amygdala remembers bad memories, bitter memories, sorrowful experiences, so that we will avoid it. So amygdala is not a bad thing. Only thing, it can remember too long if it's always getting fed in that direction. So many kids who are very active on the screen can give up their empathic, executive, decision-making, thinking pattern, and that's called top-down regulation, move into bottom-up regulation of amygdala thinking and behavior. Whatever happens, she immediately or he reacts to it. Whatever happens, reacts to it. You will observe I'm often saying she rather than he, because the he has testosterone working at a certain time and it covers up for a lot of difficulties and abnormalities and absences. So testosterone is a blessing and a problem. Get what I mean? Whereas the girl child easily gets dopamine depleted and gets chronic fatigue syndrome, mukut karanna hittenne naha, I don't feel like doing anything. That is common with the girl child simply because of this hormonal difference. So I'll have to say, be a little more watchful on the girl child, whether she's slipping into amygdala behavior, which is always feeling sad, remembering the difficult moments. You can't scold these children, and a teacher has to take cognizance of them. Fair ask or difficult to think like that? Last one is a little difficult. To recognize the child who is easily weepy, moody, you will have it at home also. You will immediately be thinking, maybe my child is like that. You have to recognize her and You can't correct them at all. You can only encourage them. Understood the amygdala, child? It's a small part of our brain. And that's called bottom-up regulation, where whatever happens outside, another child's sorrow, something not, immediately they pick up. So that's, I took some time on this. We have spent how much time? Now it is 1:45. We go on till what time?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. Digitization provokes suicide risk. So kids are online and networking on different things. I think the worst thing is the Discord. There are other lesser things, Snapchat, Instagram, the photographs is the problem. Old people like us get onto Facebook, but most of these kids are not on Facebook. They are on other things, yes. And then of course TikTok is it's a Chinese menace. Sorry, I didn't say that. It's ubiquitous, isn't it? It can spoof anything. Then they are on group gaming and so on. All kinds of groups they are into. So spending a lot of time with acquaintances with no real friends. So recent research calls digital addiction electronic cocaine, because more you're on the screen, more the dopamine goes up. Then dopamine shifts from physiological to addictive dopamine. They want to do the same thing again and again. That's the problem with the screen, too much. Very quickly, after 6 p.m., try to negotiate with them not to be on the screen with fast games. Now online studies are so ubiquitous, so kids are into online studies also after 10 o'clock and so on, which is very unwise. They must have their normal sleep, melatonin working during sleep time, and then they wake up in the morning refreshed, remembering what they studied. Otherwise they wake up in the morning and they say teacher is stupid, class is stupid, textbook is stupid, and stupid is a mentionable word. They'll get on to other unmentionable words also. Sometimes home may have a 40-year-old male boy who does the same thing in the morning. And his name is? Yeah, I always say this in my lecture. So teens on digital games attempt perfection, win every time. So they get a thing of can't fail. Parents feed, perform or perish, run their races through children activities. So we have to tell parents with this generation, you can't put pressure because they are already on digitized pressure. And the digital game does it right every time, I have to win it. Life is not like that. So somehow we have to train parents also, and then teachers also. You have to encourage them for good studies without them feeling pressurized. Now it is easy to say this. How are you going to encourage children to do well? As I told you, every child is brilliant on a given subject. Commend the child for it and cope with the other subjects. Digital game shifts kids from top-down empathic executive thinking to set up thrill-seeking, repetitive, bottom-up track that responds to environmental stimuli swiftly with dyspathy, repetitive, reactive, reflexive, thrill-seeking behavior. Difficult to understand? Or can? I used a lot of adjectives to get you to understand the shift that has happened to them. So we had Paninta Pera Sita Balano, they do Sitannata Pera, Panala Balamu, even into sexual adventures or whatever. Yeah. Kids shift from dopamine 1 physiological receptor to dopamine 2 sustained addictive action when on the screen too much. Digital effect has 5 components. Yeah. I will quickly, that's enough, I think. This is how our brain works for 1 hour. Salience with dopamine, work to focus, study for focus, come down, and 15 minutes satiety with serotonin, self-check, check back how I improve. This is called default mode network of thought. I will send the PowerPoint so that you can go through it again. I can send this clip also, you can go through it again. This is somewhat important. This is prefrontal cortex, how we think and do, top-down regulation, executive, empathic, reflective, creative, initiation, navigation, and conclusion, reward, decision-making process. But when a kid is too much on screen or is encountering unpleasant, she or he feels unrewarded, then they move into amygdala, hippocampus, hypothalamus, bottom-up regulation. Their life becomes like slipping on a banana skin, you know. So they just adjust to whatever, however. They are into dyspathy. Empathy is you think well for yourself, well for your future, well for your parents, and they have good hope. Dyspathy is everything gone wrong. So it's a very difficult world to live in, and you will encounter it in your classroom. Don't fight it is my appeal. Try to find empathic means of helping them out. They are impulsive, repetitive, reflexive, poor attention span, reactive. Then they can get into thrill-seeking behavior. Then when they are dopamine depleted, they go into anti-reward systems where pain becomes pleasure. They cut themselves. So I had a child, daughter of 2 teachers. They came, and after a while of chatting, mother said, "Darling, show your arm to the doctor, uncle." So she resisted it, and then suddenly she rolled up her long sleeve and showed me a gash of about 4 inches, 2 to 3 millimeters wide, but healed, the scar. I said, "What happened?" She said, "It's like this, doctor. Death is an experience. You must experience and see." Did you understand that thinking? Now don't be alarmed, be equipped. Because they are now had enough of that dopamine agitation, dopamine gets depleted, then they find when they are sorrowing, body has things called endorphins, opioid-like molecules in your brain system. So they are sulking. They are happy to be sulking, and they need attention, which they need. Then they find if they do some self-harm, the endorphins come to work on it. Then endorphins are not enough, then they go for external opioids. That's how drug addiction happens. The digital screen excess pushes them to seek drugs when the screen cannot give the same thrill. Will you please tell your neighbor what I said last? When the screen cannot give the same thrill, they are pushed to seek external stimulants. That is not difficult to understand. You may find some kids promoting these things, especially in upper classes. Government statistics is that every school has from grade 8 upwards, a parent who's peddling drugs through a boy. But in the north, it's happening through girls also. These are government statistics. I don't know whether there's any statistics available for private schools. I don't know. But these were government statistics. That above grade 8 and above, there's a parent peddling drugs to the student. So it's a horrific situation. But this is not exactly what we are looking at, but the possibility of some kids are moving on to drugs. These are the 7 tracks with which we all work. Empathic, intuitive, how I think about myself. Empathic, relational, how well I can relate to others. Linguistic, very quickly. If you give the screen to kids under the age of 5, you will retard their language development. So they can't speak properly. So Scandinavian countries, Denmark, Netherlands, France have banned the screen from toddlers. You have seen that, isn't it? Britain last week said they are considering banning the screen from schools. Yeah, Britain, BBC reported. Yeah. So we need some educated policies on this, where language is scrambling. Then logical, mathematical, managerial track is how you begin to pick up step-by-step thinking, step-by-step movement. So when we have to get kids back into thinking rhythm, we have to do physical exercises where their fingertips, both feet and hands, are involved in rhythmic movement that restores their thinking tracks. Even for adults, exercise keeps your brain smart. Correct? So for kids, much more than that. So sand tracks, onchilla-like things, even climbing trees is a good exercise, hanging the cricket ball and talk. These are empathic methodologies to recover their brain learning. Very quickly, the science is, when they are dopamine high, when you do these kinds of physical activities, our brain has a neurochemical transmitter called glutamate. That gets back into working order, and the child begins to study also better, attention span also improves. Now very quickly, you have to fill that form and give it to me. Your name, there's a fillable form each one got? Yes. We have just 7 minutes. It may suggest to you a question you want to ask. That form mainly asks about the screen life and the screen effects. So please fill it up roughly, you don't have to go line by line. Please put your WhatsApp number, your name, if possible your subject. If possible your subject. හැමෝටම handout එකක් දුන්නා නේද? Please put your hand up if you have not got a hand up. I brought some books. These I can't give you free. This is Right Learning and Recovering Childhood. Forward is by Wharton St. Thomas's and Dean Medical Faculty. This is about children. This is about what mom and dad can do together. This is technical enough and simple enough, parenting, heart and brain. So what I normally say is, read this with your kids. Even the handout you have got, please read with your kids. May I borrow that? I'll quickly suggest. Children, you must not be speaking at class time. You have to be filling this up, okay? Yeah. You got a return of your own, yeah. Please fill it up. You're looking at some particular person, maybe your own child, my child, TB time, smartphone time. What is your concern? This is to help you to own the subject, personalize it, yeah. It's a professional form also. Yes, you may ask. This is to give me.
As a teacher or a parent?
Yeah. If you have a school kid in mind about whom you are worried, you can fill it for that child without putting her name, of course. Then I can, if you think there's a child who should consult with me, my consultations are free of cost. Only thing, parents have to come. They can come and see me any Friday at the address given there, only that they must take an appointment and come, so that there aren't too many. Then I sit with them for about 30 minutes and make friends and child to think together, remove differences, and we have our Empathic Learning Center activities. They go up and participate in that, and feel they have a good chance of getting back to, whatever. So it's a free of cost consultation. You can put specific times. How is sleep time? Is this particular child being treated with methylphenidate or any other drug? It's an exercise to own the subject and be familiar with it. Feel that you have learned something important. So just fill it up as best as you could, and please return the form. And if you can, put the WhatsApp number of a teacher of some teacher friend. This is useful. I'm establishing a network of teachers who will scientifically address this problem. We have written to the government also that they must be proactive on this. Yes, you wanted to ask. Question is, that slide I showed about kids, the different kinds of kids. As I told you, it's a way of understanding the child in front of you. Let me say, even from age 5, you can know a child, because the brain tracts are already formed in the mother's womb, and first 5 years of development, are very important. So don't put a label on the child. Idea is to understand the child's disposition. And even as a teacher of a class of 24, how you can be personally relevant as much as possible while you have a whole group in front of you. Did you understand that? Because a class teacher or a subject teacher will have that class for 1 year, isn't it? So during that 1 year, you begin to get to know them in whatever way, yes. So there's no age as such. This is how the child will grow up. An ADHD child, my recommendation is never send them to psychiatrists. If you have someone who need to go, please refer them to Prof. Shehan Williams. He's my student. Besides that, he's a Prof of Psychiatry Ragama. He's very sensible the way he will handle. And when I find the child needs a referral, he's the one I refer to. Can they change? Certainly we try to reduce the inattention, and we try to increase the attention span, we try to increase the attention depth, and we try to increase the attention intensity, meaning in a given 15 minutes, how much the child can absorb while the teacher is teaching. That's what we do in our empathic learning center. It's all practical, fingers and toes on thing. Yeah. Maybe some of you can have a look out and come, or bring a prefects group and come. It's in Borella, near the Oval. It's a 3,600 square feet area. When you come, it will look like a calisthenics gym. All ropes, low ropes, mid ropes, climbing wall, high ropes, that kind of thing. So some schools have come with their different classrooms and gone through the thing. A good thing for a prefects group also to come and, be part of a solving team, So it doesn't look like a clinic, it looks like a gym. Yeah. And generally what I tell the parents is, Dad, come with the kid and do this twice a week or whatever. We don't charge for it, because I began this as a research project, and every time I see a child I learn, I learn. Once a child came, and the child was very very, very angry. So I said, what's the subject you like best? That's my first question. The child said, I hate all my school subjects. That was a little violent, you know. So father was a bit high up in the dialogue. He got embarrassed. I said, it's okay. I said, what do you like then? Then she said, it's like this, doctor, I'm a researcher. I'm researching on the screen for monsters we have not found. Can you see the shift in the virtual reality? Then I had a word of wisdom. I said, what about having a pet? Then again she got very angry, looked at her mother and said, I hate her. So father got a shock again. I said, what happened? No, I had 4 kittens. They were in the drain during a rainy day. I brought the kittens in and washed them, dried them, powdered them, kept them on my bed, and she came and threw them all back into the, you know. So she's not interested in studying at all in her class. Then I said, why don't you give her a pet? So actually it's therapeutic. Then we started discussing the science of studying and so on. So they went a happy family, reconciled that she would have a pet and do her school studies, and the mother will help her look after the pet. So this is not the academic medicine I studied for, but it's a necessary field, yes. Okay, I think it's time up. So if you want a deeper session as how do I adapt it more, I'll keep in touch with your principal, yes.